Hi, I'm Suris the Skeptic, and you're watching Atheist Edge.
What did these people matter to me? Weren't thousands killed every year in automobile accidents? Why should I grieve for strangers? It worked. I stopped caring.
I mean, here she just sounds like a run-of-the-mill misanthrope, and plain and simple, and that has nothing to do with her atheism. That's just a personality trait that atheist or theist can have.
Now, okay, to give some context to this, this is her reaction to the victims of 9/11. So I'm just going to appeal to those of you listening right now, anyone within earshot of my voice. Have you ever, whether you're an atheist or not, have you ever met an atheist with any views, anything similar to this? I would contend that you have not. I think she's setting up a true straw man. I don't think she even thought this. What did she say? It worked. I stopped caring. I call bullshit. I'm going to raise the bullshit flag on that. I think even with her, this is catering to our audience right here.
Yeah, I'm not going to call bullshit per se. Once again, I don't really care to second guess her backstory when I don't have a specific reason for doing so. Like she doesn't get her.
It pains me to do so, but I have to here.
It's possible. Don't get me wrong. I just don't personally see any reason to jump to that. But yeah, she's not painting a picture of herself that is in any way specific or necessarily a characteristic of atheists.
Even as I grew more intellectually enamored of atheism, I found myself having a harder time living in the light of its conclusions.
I am precisely as, quote-unquote, enamored of my lack of belief in gods as I am in my lack of belief in, say, fairies or wood nymphs. You know, I'm not enamored of my atheism. It's just a response to a claim. If 69% of the United States believed in wood nymphs, I would have to call myself an wood nymphist, I guess, and maybe have a YouTube channel debunking people the belief in wood nymphs. You know, but 69% of the population don't believe in fairies or whatever.
Well, let's face it, there are absolutely some atheists who are the smug asshole atheists who think they're smarter than everyone else. And it's possible she was one of them. She does kind of present herself as that kind of atheist on a few occasions. But yeah, once again, hashtag not all atheists.
Hashtag not all. Yep, I knew that was going to happen at least once today. Yeah, there are those atheists. That I will concede. Those atheists do exist, the ones that think they're smarter than everyone. But, you know, I've seen it.
There are also those Christians.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And we can go back and look at stats. There is a direct correlation between intelligence level and lack of religiosity. Or if you want to look at it this way, an inverse proportionality to religiosity and intelligence level.
The stereotype of, you know, the atheist, godless universities and these professors who denigrate Christianity, is that because universities were created to denigrate Christianity, or because all the smart people have rejected Christianity? That's a little bit snarkier than I want to mean, but you get the point I'm trying to get across.
Yeah, I mean, all these God's Not Dead movies, and what is it? It's that running theme, that trope. You know, that professor that gets crushed by one of the Christian students. And
although my creed held that there was no ultimate meaning, I stubbornly believed that there was such a thing as truth.
Well, that's awesome, Holly. If you gave yourself a creed, why couldn't you have given yourself a purpose also? It'd be just as easy.
Yeah, and believing that truth exists is not really something that you need to hold on to stubbornly. For most people, except the extreme postmodernist or weirdo philosophers, most people will accept that there are true things. We may disagree on what they are, but we can agree that truth exists. Like, okay, way to hold on to the very basic idea of just being able to deal with reality.
As I read the prayers on behalf of the congregation.
Well, the only reason I put this little snippet in there is because I just wanted to say one little thing on prayers. Their efficacy. Are they more effective if they're read in public? Do they have more potency than maybe those that are whispered in private? And if so, why aren't you always praying in public if you know that it's going to do more good?
Yeah, the weird thing is that, people, I mean, it's very common for people to get up in the church and pray for the congregation. It's pretty mundane. That's how my church operated growing up. There is the thing in the Jesus said where he vehemently speaks against the Pharisees for their habit of getting up and praying on the street corners in a self-aggrandizing fashion. And I don't know how you tell the difference between someone who's praying in public for their own pride or their own ego versus someone who is getting up to pray sincerely. You can pray sincerely anywhere.
Rise and be a human. There is no invisible friend, and you're not helping us. We need to help you. Please rise. Do not be like the hypocrites who pray in public where everyone can see them. Pray in the privacy of your own room, as Jesus said.
Putting the tree up the day after Thanksgiving. None of this waiting till the last minute nonsense. Yes, it was an artificial tree. Not as authentic, but less messy.
Authentically pagan, you mean? The origin of the Christmas tree is not Christian. This is a thoroughly pagan tradition that was borrowed.
Yeah, the only time this is a fun fact to bring up when you have Christians who are against Halloween because it has pagan origins, while they completely ignore or are in denial that Christmas and Easter have pagan origins, as if how things start out or originated actually matters for today. Or if America was originally a Christian nation,
Yeah.
Same thing.
Easter does have pagan origins, but the explanation of those pagan origins are so bad, largely, that it waters down our point. The Ishtar, I don't know if you're aware, but there are a lot of, it's just like that movie Zeitgeist. There's a lot of good nuggets in there, but the bad information drowns it out. Same with this pagan story of Easter. You have to get the real scoop, because if you go online and look up pagan origins of Easter, you're going to get a lot of misinformation. I will give you that.
My impression was it was because the name Easter itself, it comes from a Greek
Esther.
goddess, something like that.
Yeah, but it's not Ishtar.
I never said. I wasn't saying
but
Ishtar.
you're going to see a lot of that if you look online.
I had neither the content of faith nor the practice of it, but the music formed a little space in my soul, like a cup waiting to be filled, that by its very shape suggested something was meant to go there.
Yeah, this is another instance of the art and music and books having a profound effect on her, and she took it upon herself to interpret that profound effect in a religious fashion. When, I can go to concerts and think it's awesome and enjoy, the rush of the crowd without thinking that rush is the Holy Spirit. And I can get goosebumps without thinking that the goosebumps are a sign that God is speaking to me through the music or something like that. That seems to be a way that she specifically interprets these artistic expressions.
I personally get very little enjoyment out of anything aesthetic, music, art, literature, anything. There are times, and I will say this: I am a tiny minority among atheists. Most atheists are music lovers, same as everyone else. Just I'm an anomaly. I'm a freak of nature, I guess. But even that being said, there are still maybe a dozen songs that if I hear them on the radio, they give me some goosebumps. So I'm not immune to it. I understand it. I don't think that it fills a hole. What did she say? This
is the very shape suggested that something was meant to go there, and that's actually, she brings it up again later with C.S. Lewis's argument from desire, like the idea that the music opened up some sort of something in her heart that means there must have been meant to be something to fit in there, and she takes that as being God.
Yeah, why add that extra step? I mean, if it was the music that opened the hole in her, couldn't it just as easily or even easier be the music that was meant to go there? Or not even meant to go there. That's not a good way of saying it, but wouldn't music be a good way to fill that hole? I mean, maybe it was the music itself that was she had a need of.
Yeah, I mean, there's ways that art and literature speaks to people, not necessarily even bringing God into the factor. I've been in front of a few paintings in my time that, are awe-inspiring, and they don't make me think of God. They make me in awe of this person's talent and their ability to get across a message. And the same is true of a really good book. People, I've never read Harry Potter. People say Harry Potter speaks to them in some fashion, or people say Star Wars speaks to them in some fashion, or any kind of really great literature. You can put it down and think, wow, just wow, and you don't need to say, wow, God is real. You can just enjoy the literature for what it is.
The awe and the wonder. I visited Galileo's tomb. It's in a cathedral in Italy. And architecture is a form of art, and I think I was awe-inspired by the architecture, the smell of it, just the realization of how old that fucking place is. And then, of course, standing right there within a foot of Galileo's remains, that is awe-inspiring. And the fact that he's buried in a cathedral, right in the actual worship area, under the floor, basically. One more quick tangent. Oprah Winfrey interviewed Diane. I forget her last name. She tried to swim from Florida to Cuba, I think. She was like 46 years old or something like that, and it came up in the course of the interview that she was an atheist, but she was talking about awe and wonder just prior to that, for life in general. And Oprah just stepped on her own foot there. I mean, she said, I don't think you can be an atheist and have awe and wonder. She just blatantly came out and told her that I don't consider. She said, I think I'm quoting her almost directly, I just don't consider you an atheist if you have awe and wonder.
Well, Oprah, not that I'm a huge Oprah fanatic or anything like that, but she seems to have a very loosey-goosey, spiritual but not religious kind of thing. Like she had the Secret guy on her show before. That was it? No, it was A Million Pieces. That was the BS one. But she has a kind of feel-good, almost Joel Osteen-like spirituality among her, where she's not going to Deepak Chopra. Yeah. And where there's this kind of weird supernatural thing going on, but she isn't willing to commit to what it is. It's just the thing that she attributes all these feelings to.
Like a universal consciousness. Or if you go back way deep in our library from like a year ago, we do an episode, maybe 2, on The Secret. So you can go back and look for that. Good luck. Oh, I'll say another quick thing about religious music. It's intentionally designed to be uplifting, cheery, rote, repetitive, hypnotic, catchy, luring to your subconscious, and to get you in an acceptable mental state to be able to swallow the sermon. And this is not just me talking. I mean, it's been tried and true formula for centuries, for millennia. That's the reason that you drone on and on with the music before the pastor, priest, rabbi, imam gets up on the pulpit.
Yeah, it's that special kind of music that really gets you in the mood to have that hole in your life,
doesn't it?
Filled by Jesus Christ. I
mean, even I go to church a lot for Q&As. I got friends that are pastors, so I sit in a lot of these services. And boy, looking at it from my point of view, this repetition. Oh, yeah. It's the same verse over and over again until it's just stuck in your head.
Yeah, have you ever gone like to the early morning service and you're trying to really stay awake, and they come in with that just long organ music or keyboard music, and it's the exact opposite of what you need at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why they always have the coffee on the outside to help you stay awake when
Yep.
the organ's trying to put you to sleep.
Long before I gave any thought about whether Christianity was true, and long before I considered questions of faith and practice, my imagination was being fed Christianity.
Well, of course it was, Dr. Ordway. Western culture is inundated with Christian culture and folklore. It's everywhere. It's all around us. It speaks to nothing to the truth claims of the religion, though.
Yeah, I mean, she read a lot of literature written by Christians because the majority of people writing at the time were Christians. And you can look at all kinds of Christian art because the Christians were the ones who were paying for art. If she was in the Middle East, she'd be looking at all kinds of Islamic-inspired art and literature and probably coming to completely different conclusions.
My anthropology classes presented Christian missionaries as narrow-minded colonialists who extinguish authentic expressions of native religion. I did not quite know what to think about the integral part that human sacrifice played in the authentic expression of the Aztec religion.
Well, one, she takes the most extreme example of human sacrifice in the Aztecs and ignores the wide variety of native religions that were all stamped out by colonizers, but she's a fucking Catholic who eats the literal body of Christ every week.
You can't get away from that one. She started out Anglican, and then later, at the end of the book, she converts to Roman Catholicism. Mm-hmm. Transubstantiation. She doesn't
just believe in transubstantiation, she completely denies even the possibility that it could be meant as a symbolic act.
If I remember right in the book, she really wrestles with it, and she tries to, you can see her struggling with it and trying to get to a point where she can accept it.
Well, she may have wrestled with it at the beginning, but she ultimately treats it like it's the only logical possibility given
at the end,
biblical narrative. Yeah.
After she found a justification. Same with putting Mary on his pedestal, mm-hmm. to the glorification of Mary.
Yeah, the veneration of Mary. Yeah. The idea that Peter was given the office of the papacy, when that's by no means clear in Scripture. She just buys into all this stuff wholesale.
No. That's one thing we can agree with the Protestants on. I wonder how many of your readers caught the blinding irony of this statement. Mm-hmm. Christianity itself is the ultimate sacrifice blood cult.
But they only did it once, so that's fine.
But it's a big one.
It's a big one, yeah.
And they're always talking about it.
I didn't know then how to say it, but I was looking for the cosmic Christ, the one by whom all things were made.
All right, so there's a timeline issue in the book here. I don't know how much is missing in between the two certain statements here, but within a short period of time, I don't know if you were doing a flashback or something wonky with the timeline here, but it looks like you were searching for the cosmic Christ, and then immediately after, you became an atheist. So you went to this period where you were actively searching for Christ, but then you openly came out as an atheist. The two certainly could not have occurred that quickly together. It looks like it happened in the same semester of college, but I understand that you didn't become a Christian until 31, and you came out publicly as an atheist around maybe your sophomore year of undergrad. So I don't know. Maybe it's just a timeline error here.
Yeah, I think maybe the point she's trying to get across is she had this emptiness and meaninglessness in her life, and she did not realize it at the time. But the answer to her problem was Christianity. She just didn't consider it for a long time.
You know a lot of atheists. Do you know any that have admitted to you that there's, hey Chris, I'm a pretty hardcore atheist, but I'm secretly searching for the cosmic Christ. Yeah. Really? Is that what we're doing?
No, but I don't think she's necessarily saying that she was actively searching for Christ. I think that maybe she was
a subconscious thing.
She was searching for some kind of answer and eventually wound up on Christ. And we kind of touched on that in a different situation. If she had found Christianity, she may have found Mormonism or something else that made her feel better.
I fell in with friends who were outspoken in their atheism and contempt for Christianity. I had nothing except a vague sense of wonder to hold up against this dismissal of purpose and meaning in the world. And I wanted a role to play that would let me fit in.
Well, I'm not going to blame her for trying to find a like-minded group of people to hang out with, because that's what I did with the atheist groups here in our area, and that's fine. But this comes back to the whole meaning thing, where she does this thing and then she almost disparages people who would go back and then do the same thing that she once did.
We're mammals. We're social animals. We all of us have a genetic inherent need for social groups and tribes and belonging. It doesn't have to be I'm sure she was in the fencing club. I bet her college offered tons of other groups to, you can get that feeling of belonging in lots of other ways. When you said a vague sense of wonder to hold up against this dismissal of purpose and meaning in the world, did you mean to say objective purpose and meaning in the world? Because if not, I challenge you, Holly, to give me the name of a single atheist you've ever met who dismisses any purpose and meaning in the world, even subjectively.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, she's recounting her own story, and she does at other places say all atheists should feel the same way as I did. But yeah, I can see where if a person has decided there's no meaning or purpose, that they would try and find people to hang out with who maybe also feel similar to fill that social void, if nothing else. So like I said, I'm not going to disparage her for trying to seek out other atheists, because you're going to seek out other Christians, you're going to seek out other stamp collectors, you're going to seek out other fantasy baseball players or whatever you're into.
That being said, the vast, overwhelming majority of Earth's population of Homo sapiens believe in something supernatural. Religion is ubiquitous all over the earth. There's a reason for that. I'm not blind to it. I see that is probably part of the human condition, and there's a reason why a hard 6% say only 6% are non-believers, outwardly. I think we're the anomaly. I understand that. Maybe this is going to sound smug, maybe we are the evolution of humans. Maybe not. Maybe this is the way we're going to go eventually. If you look at current demographics, you'll see that the trend is going more and more secular worldwide. I don't know if that's going to continue. If this is what we're going to ultimately become, maybe there was a need for religion at one time, like as a no-shit survival mechanism. I don't know. Maybe we're still at a point where we're still in our infancy as a species, and all too many of us need something to believe in for comfort, to guard against that fear of the unknown. But I think the more and more we know, the less and less fear we're going to have of it, and maybe less and less religion. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not convinced that religion is going to die out anytime soon, nor do I personally particularly care if it does. I mean, it serves a lot of functions that I think are going to keep it around. Like you said, it does give people comfort in times of trouble. It gives people structure in their lives. It provides a ready-made explanation for the various unknowns in our lives, and even as science keeps progressing and we find out more stuff about the universe, we also find out more stuff that we don't know about the universe. And there's always going to be people who try and do classic God of the gaps and plug God into those unknowns and say, oh, you can't explain where these virtual particles are coming from, that must be God, or something along those lines. So I think religion will always be with us, and we can find ways to moderate it and talk about it and try and help people realize that there are alternatives to it. But I think that having the goal of trying to stamp it out entirely is both a little foolhardy and unnecessary.
I think it was Penn Jillette was on, was it Piers Morgan maybe? And Pierce asked him, a similar question, and Penn he just gave the perfect answer. It was something, I know it's going to be on your screen right now. He gave something like, do you fear 1830? Well, what are you getting at? Where are you going with this? Well, you weren't alive in 1830, right? Do you fear that year? I mean, no, I wasn't even alive then. I didn't exist. Mm-hmm. Exactly. That's how my death is going to be. I fear it the same as I fear 1830. I was nothing before. I'm going to be nothing again. There's no reason to fear it. Me personally, I could see someone being a little depressed that they're not going to live forever. Mm-hmm. I could kind of see that. But fear? No, I don't fear 1830. I'm not going to fear 2130.
I was not looking for God. Make no mistake. I did not believe he existed. I did not even wonder.
I'll say this about this part. This kind of contradicts the Romans 1, that God has made himself known throughout creation, and anyone who doesn't believe in God is without excuse. Because she seems to be indicating here that she clearly did not see God in creation, did not feel like that she was denying him. She just didn't see a need for him. So which is it? Was she denying? Was she aware of God and was denying him, or was she not aware of God and didn't even realize she was missing him? You can't have both be true at the same time.
Yeah, she said, I did not even believe he existed. I did not even wonder.
It didn't even cross her mind that
he
might exist.
Yeah, so now as a Christian, she can't, is her memory that faulty that she can't look back at what she used to think and realize that that's how a lot of atheists, that's how most of us think? Mm-hmm. We just don't have a need. But it's almost like she completely forgot how she thought before. She can't relate to it anymore. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And right in line with what you said, because just a couple of paragraphs before this, she said, I don't know then how to say it, but I was looking for the cosmic Christ, the one by whom all things were made. Mm-hmm. So which one is it? You can't have both, just like you said.
Atheist Edge.
A little hyperbolic, but all right, so...
Walking the edge of what some consider offensive.
Insulted. They would if you were intoxicated by if you were somebody like her, who's apparently enamored by feelings of superiority. There's probably a pretty solid chance that she would also be enamored by the attention and admiration of people around her. And if she received that by doing a prayer in front of her congregation, she may have connected that to something else.
But your feelings don't matter here. Only facts.
Where is it?
I really want to put a that's what she said when she has a hole that's waiting to be filled.
Edgy commentary on the dangers of doctrine.
Who extinguished authentic expression of native religion. Yeah, no shit. I did not
The foibles of faith.
Tech religion. Oh, you're justifying them taking religion away because they did human sacrifices.
The bullshit of belief, the stupidity of superstition, and the idiocy of indoctrination.
The cosmic Christ? What the fuck is a cosmic Christ? Cosmic Christ. Oh my god, I need a t-shirt with a cosmic Christ on it right the fuck now. Alright.
With razor sharp wit, curiosity, and critical thought, we take an unblinking look at today's religions.
Sorry, I'm just like, Cosmic Christ is like wrapped in my head right now and I can't focus, so I'm gonna laugh.
We are Atheist Edge.
Shannon, your outtakes on our Atheist Edge. Shannon, your outtakes on our collab is a steady source of levity recently. It makes it fun to edit.
Bad for them. Everybody should go to the Atheist Edge. So I read a bunch of excerpts from a book. Oh my gosh, why can't I remember the name of the book right now? Oh my gosh, that's awful. Oh my gosh, I had too many drinks. Not God's Type. It was called Not God's Type. Holy smokes. And it was written by this woman who was an atheist and converted to Christianity and then ultimately Catholicism. And it was all about her deconversion and why she was an atheist was because she wanted to feel superior to people. And and the first time I had read anything of this book was when I was reading the excerpts that Jim sent me from the Atheist Edge to read, because I read her words, like her narrative in the book for them, because they have this amazing book club. It's an atheist and Christian book club where they both read the same books and then have these great conversations. Like, you should go check out their channel. It's a great channel. But anyway, so I did the collab with them, and it's a several-part series because it was a long book, and I feel bad for them because as I was reading through it, I was losing it. I was getting frustrated because a lot of what she was saying was just really, it was just really bad. And so I read it one long take. So I don't even know how long the audio file I sent Jim was, but it was not short. And I sent it literally with an apology. It was just like, yeah, I'm sorry I didn't edit this down because I didn't have time, because it was just before you were coming. I was like, I didn't edit this down because I didn't have time. So everything I said is in there. And I said a lot of things. Just sent it to him. But he used them. He puts my outtakes. And one of them even says, welcome to Paul's life or something like that. This is what Paul's life is. I just send him files that are garbage. And I'm like, make this a video. Just me swearing at a camera.
I have no sympathy for that.
For 20 minutes. That's a 5-minute video. Just 20 minutes of me swearing, and in there's little snippets of me making sense. Paul condenses that down into a cogent 7-minute video of me looking like I know what I'm talking about.